What's going on, everybody? My name is Colin. Welcome back to what's going to be the 6th vlog today. I really appreciate everybody tuning in today. One thing we're going to be really striving to do in this episode is getting some color on the engine bay. So I'm really stoked for that. Also, we should be painting the other side of the engine. I've already got one side of it painted. So stay tuned and we'll get this show rolling. How's that sound? Just a quick update of the motor. Here is what I've got so far. I've pretty much taped off all of the intake holes. I didn't tape off the radiator gasket holes there, but they should be okay. Went ahead and taped off all the sensors, got the timing cover off and the crank pulley off so I could paint the crank pulley, and then went ahead and painted the rest of the motor. So right here, some of the oil leaked out of this turbo feed, I guess you could call it bolt. So it kind of leaked onto here, so I might have to touch that up when I flip the motor over so that it leaks up like that way. So there's that. Engine's looking really good. I'm really happy with it. So I'm probably going to flip this over and then show you guys how much more of the bottom I cleaned. And then we'll get to masking it off and painting it. Alright, so I went ahead and flipped the motor over, and as you guys can see, I cleaned it up real good. So I'm gonna have to mask off the oil pan and clean it up just a little bit more, clean some of the oil that kind of dripped down from this side onto the bottom here. So I'll clean that up and then we'll get to putting a coat of paint on it. Went ahead and finally finished taping off the bottom side of the motor. Got the oil pan covered, the exhaust ports covered, all these rubber oil lines covered, and then the parts on the oil filter. I covered up the rubber part on the oil filter just so that it wouldn't come off on my hands when I took off the filter. So I've got everything there. Everything's all set. I'm going to go ahead and throw a coat of paint on it and see how she looks afterwards. It's looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. You guys can see. Back it up a little bit. There you go. It looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. The color looks pretty good, and yeah, the paint comes out of the can really nicely too, so that's always a plus. I still got a hit probably right here. Don't know if you can see that right there and there. Some of the little nooks and crannies, but first coat looks pretty good. And masked off the oil pan and painted the oil pan black, so it's actually looking really nice, as you can see. So oil pan is done. Next thing on my list was to actually, I was feeling kind of motivated today, as you could probably tell, and I went ahead and actually just did a little bit more Bondo on the left side of the motor, or the engine bay, and it actually turned out really good. I spent quite a bit of time on it today. I probably spent most of the day on it today. Let's see if I can get you guys a good look. But anyways, I went ahead and filled in right over here, and then this whole entire gap, because there was like a nice divot in there. So I went ahead and filled in that, and then a couple of the rivets along there, a couple holes along there, and then we're pretty good. So engine bay is looking really good. Now all I need to do is, I bought a couple of these. These are just 3M sanding blocks for extra fine or extra nice surface or whatever, extra smooth, there it is. And all I'm gonna do here is just wipe down pretty much the entire engine bay with this, sand it I guess a little bit with this, and that should scuff up all the little dust particles that got stuck to the primer. And after that we should be good to go with color. So I'm gonna get to this. We actually probably won't be spraying color today, but that just means that the final product is going to turn out just a little bit better because we spent that extra little bit of time to make sure everything was just perfect before we sprayed color. So I'm going to go ahead and sand down the engine bay with this guy, make sure everything's really smooth, and then after I do that, we should be pretty good to go to maybe lay some color, maybe we'll have to lay a coat of primer or something like that, but actually we'll definitely have to lay another coat of primer when I can't talk. But after we lay that coat of primer, we should be good to go to paint it, do some color. So stay tuned for that. Rips. All right. That is a good looking motor. So I'm just going to go ahead and take all the tape off this right now, and then after I take it off, I'll show you guys how it looks. Once again, it's like Christmas. I love unwrapping stuff. If you guys had a good holiday, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear any of the cool stories you guys had or experienced over the holidays. It's always fun to listen to. I think I'm going to title this vlog "New Motor for the WRX." Just to give you guys a little clickbait. I think that'd be funny. So here's the top of the motor. Looks really good. I'm really happy with how this whole thing turned out. Here's another side view. Get from the back. There we go. Man, this thing looks brand new. Is that just me? Let me know in the comments if you guys think this thing also looks brand new. I'm really happy with how this thing turned out. Man. If any of you guys have the time and patience as well to do this, I would highly recommend it because it is just so rewarding. I'm beyond happy right now. This turned out super good, and it's gonna look super good inside the engine bay after it's painted as well. So, man, I'm excited. Cool. So here's what I've got after I have kind of filled in that little gap over there. It looks really weird because of all the reflecting light, but so. There's little squiggles right here, and that's one of the reasons why you paint, is so you can see all these lines and stuff. So I have to go back over right along through here and sand that down so I can get rid of those little lines and stuff, because once I do that, then it'll look super nice and smooth. So that's my goal, but everything else is looking really good, so I'm pretty happy. And finally, I went ahead and threw a coat of undercoating on the oil pan just to make it a little bit more resistant to chipping off and all that kind of stuff, and it has a nice hammered look to it, which I really like. So that's looking good. In a few minutes here I'm going to pull off the masking plastic and we'll be good to go. Alright guys, that is going to be the end of the vlog. I want to just say thanks for tuning into my channel. It really means a lot to me. Any view at this stage really counts. So thank you. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any tips, comments, or anything for me, leave them down there in the comments section for me below. And then also make sure you hit the notification bell for me, because that way you know when I post a vlog, because I don't really have a set schedule right now. So one last thing is, just wanted to say everybody have a happy new year, because I think that's either going to be tomorrow or today, depending on when I post the vlog. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Take care.